And hello, my fellow nerds out there. This is Oracle Reggie, and welcome back once again to Remembering Emily. So today we're going to be tackling Chapter 4, Friends. Emily had just left my apartment. Although she left in a friendly way, you could sense some tension between us. Even more so as I couldn't even remember anything had happened between us. I appreciated Kate's call, timely as always, taking my mind off of the previous day's hustle and bustle. We arranged to meet at a coffee shop next to my apartment. They knew I was passionate about coffee and told me they knew of an amazing coffee shop nearby. To my surprise, it was the same one I used to go to in my old town. Didn't know it was a franchise. Call it Destiny, I guess. Hey Thomas, we're here. Hey guys, did you have a good night? Yesterday you were exhausted after dinner. During during dinner I still had strength, but in the end my body could not take it anymore. And you weren't the one who made the most effort during the move. Right, Thomas? He supported us with his incredible presence. Every group needs someone to cheer the others. I sacrificed myself to assume this great responsibility. We bursted into laughter. If it weren't for William, Kate would surely have been much more tense about what happened the day before. Have you ordered? We already have our coffees, and we have already ordered yours. I don't think the barista even knew that could be done. Not everyone is prepared for a palate as fine as Thomas's. Okay, again, palate is spelled with two. Palate is spelled P-A-L-E-T-T-E. Come on, at least try to fix your grammar. Someday I'll get you to try it, and you'll see that you won't want anything else. Better sit tight, Thomas. American with coconut milk, just in time. Well, how about it, Emily? How about Emily? There was a brief silence for a few seconds, until I finally decided to respond. I didn't expect to find it here. It was it was a rather strange situation. What I don't get is why you invited her to have dinner with us. After everything you had told me, I think I'm missing out. What happened with Emily? Actually, I only know Emily from two specific moments. First time I talked to her was for a whole morning in a coffee shop, practically identical to this one. And she ended up running away from there when she heard the police sirens. Was she a fugitive? The second time, she explained why she ran away, and it was out of fear of her at the time partner. That's too bad. So if Emily is the victim in all this, why is it so weird for you to be nice to her? Apparently something happened that second time, but Thomas hasn't told me what it was. Let's just say I didn't like what I found out about Emily. And when I did, I decided to get away from her as soon as possible. I can't imagine what could have worried you so much about her. But if your reaction was that, you really must have had a good reason. Kate, Kate showed, look showed concern. The tone of voice in which she spoke was delicate, as if she believed that a bad word would hurt my feelings. I don't know if I did the right thing or not, but at the time I didn't want to face that kind of situation. It might have been selfish, but I wasn't ready. You've truly left me intrigued. But but if that's what you felt at the time, if you want to get away from her, you can crash at my house. Tomorrow, real estate agents Kate and William set out to find a new apartment. Don't worry, William. Thanks. When I went up to her apartment yesterday, she's explained some things I didn't understand. Truth be told, I really want to believe her. You know you can count on us, right? I know, that's why I decided to move here. After a few seconds of silence between us, William finally stepped in to save the situation. Chop chop, we have a busy schedule today. What's on the agenda? There's a retro arcade downtown and we thought you'd fancy going there. And then we were going to stop by the bookstore. Why? Are you gonna buy something? I mean, dude, it's a bookstore. Of course he's probably gonna freaking buy something. And possibly you too. You're all over the place, aren't you? At that moment, I understood everything. Brad Sanders' new book, The Storm. Ooh, actually, that actually does sound pretty captivating. Indeed. This time it has taken him quite a while to release another of his books, 2 or 3 months since the previous one. You can tell he is out of shape. The three of us started laughing. I regained my spirits and remembered why I was there. And we headed off to spend the morning in the arcade. Ooh, okay, this looks pretty cool. We arrived soon after. As I walked through the door, it looked like I had traveled back in time. Machines that I hadn't seen since childhood, which were old even then. Luminous marquees with games that were the kings more than 3 decades ago. And to top it off, the owners of the place from time to time set the mood with a little smoke. As in concerts. I think that they wanted to represent as faithfully as possible what an arcade was like in the 80s or 90s. Dude, and as tobacco is nowadays forbidden in these kinds of places, they had that idea. What do you think of this ode to video games? I had no idea this place existed. Did we surprise you? Completely. And best of all, you can play on the arcade as much as you want. The entrance fee allows us to stay here all morning playing as much as we want. And I like that even more. If you excuse me, I just saw there's a Street Warriors 2 tournament ended. Just say Street Fighter, we get it. It's time to show everyone who's been the king of this game for more than 20 years. Okay, you know what? 20 years of being pro at a game, that's impressive. And don't come back without a trophy. Count on it. Kate and I were on our own. It was the first time we were going to be without William since I had arrived in town. And I think it was when I had truly been waiting for all that time. Would you like to play Final Punch? Oh, Final Punch, like a fight. Final Punch, like a. Is it like last? Oh, it's like First Strike, like Street Fighter First Strike. I get it. Ever since you watched that anime, that's all you think about, isn't it? You got me. Let's go. We started playing, and it wasn't long before I decided to ask Kate about Emily. Kate, what was going on with you yesterday at dinner? I don't understand, Thomas. What are you talking about? When you were talking to Emily, you seemed really uncomfortable. I would even go as to say you got annoyed with her. You could tell Kate was not at ease. She was constantly looking at the ground as if the answer had fallen there from her brain. A few seconds later, she began to speak. As Emily talked about you, I realized that you two felt something for each other. She spoke of you with affection and even love. I had never thought that there was something so deep between you. And even less knowing that you had only met twice. Is it difficult to explain? But what would that bother you? The possibility of us being together? Thomas, you really don't know? Haven't you realized? I like you, Thomas. I like you very much. Kate. You don't have to say anything, really. When I met you, I just saw you as a friend. Little by little, my feelings changed until I knew that I wanted to be with you. Up until yesterday, I thought that somehow you might feel the same way about me. I'd be lying if I told you I had no feelings for you, Emily. Or that she didn't even confess her feelings. Do you love her? I don't know. I left the city precisely to leave her behind. So I wouldn't be dragged into a life I knew I didn't want. And also to be closer with the two of you. To be with you. That moment, even though I knew it could hurt her, I decided to tell her what had happened the night before with Emily. But yesterday, when you left, Emily carried me to bed as I was very tired. And although I remember practically nothing of what happened, we ended up spending the night together. There was a dreadful silence. I didn't know what else to say. It seemed like Kate wanted to say something, but no sound came out of her mouth. I knew it would hurt her. Then why would you say it? Then why? But I also know but I also knew that she should know. I'm sorry, Thomas. I need a minute. Kate got up and hurried to the restroom. I knew I had to tell her as soon as possible. But I don't think there was any way in which I could sugarcoat what happened. Dude, just say she carried you to bed and that was it. You literally could have sugarcoated it. You literally would have been fine if you just... In fact, you probably would have been fine if you just didn't say anything. Could have just kept your mouth shut, but no. Minutes later, she came back, more relaxed. And without giving me much time to say anything, she asked me directly. You love her, Thomas? I regret what happened, Kate. I told her this morning and she also agreed that maybe she had pushed me too hard. And even more so knowing that it was not right. Thomas, what happened to make you run away from your city? Thomas? Oh, decision time, okay. Yeah, sorry. Zone out for a second. Don't worry. What did you tell Kate? I'm in love with Emily? Emily is someone I want to forget. Ooh. Uh, I have no clue which one to pick. I mean, you quite literally spent the night with Emily. So at that, and there's no way that was just like a one-time thing. It couldn't just have just been a hookup. But at the same, but at the same time, he also kind of wants to leave Emily behind. Like I don't know, like the story just seems a bit too contradictory in my opinion. Like honestly, I get what the developer was trying to do, but you need to stop having so many contradicting elements in your story. If you want to tell a story, you can't be contradicting information constantly throughout the entire thing. You have you have to supply like the whole story, like one straight story and then a contradictory detail that can be proven false. That's how a story can be told. Um Maybe someone I want to forget. Maybe someone I want to forget. Yeah, let's just go with the first one. It's complicated. You don't have to tell me. I simply want to understand you, Thomas. I met Emily because of a mix-up, but you know that. But I admit on that day there were certain things that were strange to me. As if she knew exactly what to say to get me more and more interested in her. In addition, some things happened that were not quite normal. Like when, sh- like when he, like when she left suddenly, or some attitude she had during the conversation. But the second day I saw her, I decided I had to stay away from her, no matter how much I liked her. What happened? Emily pulled a gun on me in the coffee shop. What do you mean? What do you think he means, you dolt? Emily had a gun. Emily had a gun on her and pulled it out to shoot you in front of everyone? It was late and Emily was telling me what happened with her ex-boyfriend. Told I told her that he had to get I told her that he had to get away as far away from him as possible, even from his own work. Even from her own work. What did her job have to do with her ex-boyfriend? Her ex-boyfriend works in shady business, and Emily had gotten her position thanks to Seth's shenanigans. I understand. Emily became nervous and pointed the revolver at me to show how helpless she felt. There was there was no one in the cafeteria, and the waiter was packing up. But she could have killed you. I knew she had a gun with her from the first time I saw her. She also, she had also told me that she was carrying it unloaded. Also, why do you guys keep using he when you're referring to Emily? Don't you mean she? Like I know that there are lots of typos, like maybe like there's a lot of grammar issues and stuff like that, but like I don't know. I'm probably gonna be pointing it out through this entire series, but like please, if you're gonna tell a story, at least have the correct pronouns for characters, okay? I didn't want to get involved with someone who had pulled a gun on me, and I decided to leave town. I don't know what to think. It's complicated. I'm sorry that happened, Thomas. I guess I thought it was over. I was over it, but when I saw Emily upstairs, all those memories came back without being able to stop them. And on top of everything that happened afterwards, it made the situation not much better. Does she want something else? The next, the next day, I don't remember much of anything. Ellie was the one who had told me everything. We talked calmly, and I told her that it had to have been a mistake. Kate, I really don't want to be with Emily. But I can't tell you exactly how I feel about you either. Thomas, I'll always be there. You know that, don't you? Thank you, Kate. And if at some point, you know, I'll be waiting for you. Even after knowing everything you have told me. Then when William appeared, he did not look very happy. This is the last time I entered Street Warriors 2 Championship. What happened? One player started mashing buttons, always throwing me the same attack from far away. Bruh, that's literally every new player that I knew in Street Fighter. They just pick Ryu and spam Hadouken over and over. It was impossible for me to know what he was going to do, and I got eliminated for in the third round. I mean, going 3 rounds in a tournament that's pretty impressive. You could cut the tension with a knife. After a conversation with Kate, we were both still at a loss for words. You're very quiet. Did the cat bite your tongue? Mm, the way you should say that is, what's the matter? Cat's got your tongue. Don't be ridiculous, William. Why didn't you get past the first screen of Final Punch? Did you get so caught up in your conversation that you forgot about the game? Something like that. Should I play a few more games and go to the bookstore? Of course. We spent some more time playing on various arcade machines. Little by little, Kate and I went back to normal. But inside I was really confused. As I told you, I don't know what I felt about Kate. We arrived at the bookstore. I confess that seeing the shelf of Brad Sanders featured books again didn't do me any good. Although this time the company, it was very different. I think that I had to reread the previous book. It's been too long since the last one. But the last one was a few months ago, William. In Sandersian years, that's almost decades. You're absolutely right. Thomas, what happened the last time you bought the latest Sanders book? You told us something. She was more relaxed than in the arcade. Fortunately, her cheerful mood was back, and I was able to give a break to feelings I didn't know how to sort out. Have you got your bulletproof vest with you? Why? Kate quickly looked at me with a worried look. I didn't know what William was talking about or why he had made such a comment. Did he know about Emily? Didn't someone get shot outside a bookstore where you bought the latest Sanders book? Yeah, kind of. I was having a drink in a cafe when a guy who had just bought the book was shot pretty close. Oh, you hadn't told me anything. I didn't want to worry you, and I know how you feel about these things. And I don't worry about you, and I don't worry about you? You're already emotionless, William. That is true. Bought the books, and at that moment, everything came to mind. The last 48 hours have been incredibly intense, and I suddenly started to feel really weak. Thomas, are you okay? You don't look so good, buddy. I've been better. That's true. I think I'm just a little bit dizzy. A move, reunions, a day out. I can't think of a reason. Would you like us to walk you home? No, that's not necessary. I can go alone. I'm really close. I feel better if I got you home. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. I'll call you a cab so you can go to Thomas, okay? I'd go with you, but I have a meeting in an hour with a publisher for my next game. Why didn't you say something earlier? I didn't want to jinx it, but I don't want you to think that I that is spelled backwards. I would leave a friend at his last breath. You're the best at making excuses, William. That's my style. We arrived at my apartment a bit later. William had called a cab and we crossed town within minutes. Thank you, Kate. I think I can go on my own. Thomas, I didn't go across town to make sure not to make sure you were okay. We went into my apartment. Everything was quiet, and little by little, I was feeling better. I'm going to prepare you a calming tea so you can relax and rest for a while. Thanks, Kate. I guess it wasn't easy to tell me all of that. Yet I understand why you're like this. I'm sorry I made you remember all that. The day Emily pointed that gun at me. It was the day Brad Sanders' previous book was released. Oh. Is that why you started to feel weird? Because William asked you about it? Yes. Actually, since we talked in the arcade, I started to feel better. I guess I didn't want to hide what had happened with Emily. Especially not to you. I appreciate that you decided to trust me. Even after what I told you. First and foremost, you're my friend. My best friend. Aww. At the moment, Kate and I hugged. I felt Kate's tears on my shoulder. Kate had also endured a great deal in the last few hours. She managed to open up to me. My answer hit her like a ton of bricks. And I felt like I might be throwing away a chance to be with someone that was really worth it. A few minutes passed. I drank the tea while chatting with Kate about the unimportant things. I was trying to understand why I didn't feel for Kate the same way I felt for Emily. I think I've had too many emotions for today. I'll take you to the bedroom so you can rest. It will be the best. I opened the bedroom door when we saw somebody within the darkness of the room. It was Emily. She was crying sitting on the bed. Okay, what? What are you doing here, Emily? How did you get in? The doorman lent me the keys to your apartment. I don't think he's allowed to do that at all. Like, are doormen actually allowed to let you borrow keys like that? I don't think they're allowed to do that. When he saw me leaving your apartment, I told him that I was your girlfriend and that I had left something there. But what were you doing here? Because of Seth. He knows where I live. Oh shit. Okay, see that's a serious story plot right there. In that instant, my whole world fell apart. I had fled from my old city because of that. Because I didn't want to be a part of it. And it had hit me on full on. Did you see him? Did the police tell you? I see him lurking in the street from the window. He was at the cafe across the street the whole afternoon. I guess he was waiting for you to come out. For me to come out. I don't know how he found me, but he did. The only thing I could think of was to come here because okay. Okay, one thing, there should not be an apostrophe after the S. There should always just be one apostrophe. He's made it this far. He'll know which floor I live on. Taz, I think I'm the third wheel. No, Kate, please. You're already you're already with Emily. If you need anything, just give me a call. I walked Kate out of the apartment. Kate's face was slowly returning to the same expression she had during the morning at the arcade. Kate, are you okay? Yes. I was simply surprised. Nothing else. I didn't expect Emily to be in the room. Least of all for those reasons. But do you have to be the one to help her? Getting into danger like that? Am I the only person she knows in town? Kate. We will call the police and see what they can do. Thomas, if you think that's what you have to do, just be careful. That's for sure. We'll talk tomorrow, okay? Of course. I rushed back inside and Emily was still sitting on the bed. You could see on her face that she was terrified. She had fled the city precisely to avoid this. And now she had her greatest fear waiting outside the apartment. What happened? What exactly happened? I don't know, Thomas. I just saw him through the window and... Calm down, Emily. I can't understand a word. Start from the beginning. What happened when you left my apartment this morning? You know that I only go out to do shopping for some occasional photo shoot that I've been hired for. Yesterday I got a request for a photo shoot from a guy and he wanted to meet a couple of blocks away this morning. When I left your apartment, I went to mine to get ready for the photo shoot. When I had everything ready, I made myself a coffee to relax before leaving. I looked out the window and there he was. He was walking into the street as if looking for something. Looking for me. I canceled the photo shoot and pulled the curtains in the apartment so no one could see me. He found me, Thomas. Do you think he was the one who hired you? Maybe, I'm not sure. I have to set the vacation mode in the photo app in the app so I can no longer be commissioned for photo shoots. I don't know what to do, Thomas. Did you call the police? I called the agent who had been helping me in our old city. She told me not to leave the house and to try to be with someone at all times. She also told me that she would talk to her contact here and let me know if they were able to locate him. Truth be told, Emily, I don't know what to tell you. Can I ask you a favor, Thomas? Of course. I'm afraid if Seth finds out where I live and one day shows up at my apartment door, I know what I'm going to ask you may not be the best of ideas, especially after what happened between us, but can I come and live with you for a while? Thomas? This is the first time I hear about Emily and you living together. Wait, how is this the first time you hear about this when you were the one asking us that question in the previous chapter? Like that's something that also doesn't make sense in this game, honestly. It's not a time that I feel like remembering too much. Especially as this is the starting point of everything. And this is why I came here. I understand, Thomas. When Emily asked to live with me, I didn't know what to say. On the one hand, I knew that I didn't want Emily in my life. Emily is that person who you love, but at the same time, you're certain that you don't want in your life at all. That kind of thing is contradictory, because either you love them and you want them in your life, or you don't want them in your life and you don't love them. So which is it? But I had no choice. Besides, Emily was not to blame for what was happening to her. That's the opposite. She was the victim. Yeah, I guess, yeah. You're not so sure, are you? You think Seth should find her? No, of course not. Well, I don't know. Okay, wait. I'm getting very confused. How did this all led to that one question that was asked in the beginning of the series? Like, if you don't know what happened, watch the other 3 chapters first. But trust me, these are as non. I'm as confused as you guys are. It is true that everything is really confusing. Yes, it is because you haven't told the story in a straight linear way. Okay, wait. What's the whole story thing here? Oh, that's story is history. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe if he had found her earlier, nothing would have ended the way it did. I get it, Thomas, but we'll get to that later. Go on. She ended up living with me. Emily talked to her landlord, and Emily talked to the landlord. You mean, because they both have the same landlord, and told him that she was going to be gone for a few months, but she would keep paying rent. What? Why did she do that? Wasn't it better to leave the apartment or just not say anything to him? Emily suspected that Seth could be in contact with the landlord or people close to him. So she wanted to check if Seth disappeared when he found out. Kind of far-fetched. Yeah, like this whole story. It also crossed my mind for a moment, but I didn't give it a second thought. I went up to her apartment to get her things, and she settled into the room I used for work. Since there was a small guest bed in that room, there was no major problems. Convenient. Emily's apartment was then empty, but she kept on paying rent. Isn't it? Exactly. Emily also thought that Seth might at some point try to get into that apartment, so we set up a camera. That way, if we saw him, we could call the police. Okay, that is probably the one smartest thing that Thomas has done this entire story. That's probably the one thing that was actually smart of him. Emily was well prepared. When we were preparing everything, she seemed confident, as if she had been planning all that for a long time, or as if she was used to it. When your life is in danger, the mind gets ready for anything, entering into a fight or flight mode. It may be. Did you live together for a long time in the end? Not so much, just enough to make it difficult. What do you mean? Was it difficult to live with Emily? It was complicated. Most of the day it was like living with a friend. I was the one who went out to buy food and other things we needed. She was in charge of doing the housework. I suppose it was because Emily could not leave the house of her own safety. Exactly. In the end, the priority was for Emily not to be seen by Seth for a while. The problem was those days when Emily acted as if we were a couple. In which way, Thomas? Sometimes she would call me pet names. Some other times she talked to me as if she was in her own home, forgetting that she was in my apartment because I was helping her. I don't know, things like that. Well, after all, Emily had feelings for you. She had already told you. Yes, of course, but we had already agreed that what happened that night was a mistake. And that it was better to be friends. It's one thing to say, Thomas, but feelings are complicated to control. Anyway, it was quite a complicated situation to let her behave like that. Each person faces dangerous situations in a different way, Thomas. Emily at best coped with it by trying to live a normal life. And what's more normal than living with your SO? It makes a lot of sense, but it was very confusing. I guess it was a hard blow for Kate. It was worse than I had first imagined. At first, Kate would come home, but her tension with Emily grew and grew. Worse than the moving day dinner. That day, I thought it was one-time thing, but whatever Emily said, Kate misunderstood it and looked really uncomfortable. What kind of comments did Emily say that made her uncomfortable? Emily could comment on something related to the day to day. Or she would grab me by the arm or something like that. I understand. It's normal knowing how she felt about you. The worst part is that there was nothing I could do to fix it. I was a prisoner of a situation I had not even chosen. As days passed, Kate stopped saying she would drop by. In less than a week, she told me that she would no longer be coming home as long as Emily was there. So, so basically, what I'm hearing is Kate is jealous of Emily. That's basically what I'm hearing, right? So maybe try to communicate that in a more direct way. That it hurt her very much to see her, and that she would rather not to suffer like that. But you kept on hanging out, didn't you? At first, yes. Sometimes with William, and sometimes just the two of us. There were not too many problems. In a very short span, we had gotten used to seeing each other almost every day a few weeks later. A few weeks later, Kate stopped looking forward to our meeting. She made all kinds of excuses. If it hadn't been up for William, I don't think I would have seen her for a long time. Thomas, Kate's feelings for you were very strong. She had to fight with someone who made you feel exactly like that. Someone who, on top of that, you couldn't ignore in any way. Someone who needed you. It must have been really hard for Kate. Did you manage to get your feelings in order during that time? No. When I think about the time I spent alone with Kate, I just remembered it was the best time of my day. We chatted about video games, movies, books we were interested in. Every day we spent together, I realized that Kate had things that I only thought I'd seen in Emily. What did you discover that you hadn't seen in Kate before? The feeling that we truly seemed to always think alike. It may sound silly, but it seemed that when I started the sentence, she could have finished it exactly as I imagined it. It's something very similar to what you had told me when you saw Emily. You hadn't discovered it until now? I I guess distance keeps you from discovering things that when you're physically with someone, you could pick up in a second. Okay, that's probably one statement I can actually agree with. Like in my opinion, it's better to actually meet a person face to face than over like a video call or something. So, how did you feel about Kate at the time? It was Kate for me, I do not know. As much as I think about her, I just think she was my friend. Maybe more. But I cannot figure my feelings for Kate. When you were at the arcade machines, Kate decided to be honest with you. You think you were honest with her? I think so. When Kate opened up her feelings to me like that, I knew I couldn't keep my history with Emily from her. Are you talking about the gun, Thomas? Yes. I didn't want to relive the situation all over again. But I felt that I had to be honest with Kate. Tell the truth. I wanted to know that Emily even had feelings, even if I had feelings for her, was not the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And who is that person, Thomas? Who would you want to spend the rest of your life with? Obviously, I'm beginning to think that maybe with Kate. You told me that when Emily started living in your house, it was only temporary. But I don't quite understand. How could you know if Seth would leave it or if he would break into her apartment so you could call the police? We knew Emily would no longer be able to return to her apartment. If Seth no longer thought no longer Even if Seth no longer thought she lived there, going back would be too dangerous. So you were simply waiting for things to calm down. And even be able to look for another place to live. Exactly. But it was complicated. Her contact at the police with the police told her contact at the police told her to continue living with me. We put up a for rent sign in her apartment. I don't quite understand that. Did you want to rent Emily's apartment? No, it was simply another trap for Seth. If anyone was interested, the number listed was one of Emily's contacts at the police. If it was Seth, they would immediately go after him. I understand. Not only that, Emily's lease did not state that she could not sublet any rooms. So considering that she had told the landlord she would be out for a few months, well, it was not so rare. Even for the landlord. Then, how long were you going to be waiting for Emily to be able to move in? Because time could simply pass without Seth showing any signs of life. Or don't you mean any signs of interest? At first, I didn't think about that. But as time went by, I began to realize that this could go on forever. And considering how it was affecting my friendships, well, I was worried that we wouldn't see a time when Emily would take the step to move to another apartment. Or to start fresh again. By the way, Thomas, I have a question. Did you pay for everything? Wasn't Emily working doing photo shoots? During that time, Emily continued working, but not doing photo shoots. The majority of her income was from work she did on photo retouching websites. Anyway, I was the one who did the shopping. She was already paying her rent. So I never said anything about giving me any money. And did she happen to say anything? Not directly. But she suggested it a couple of times. I simply told her that it didn't matter. During all that time with Emily, did anything happen between the two of you again? Something like what happened the moving night? Are you asking me if she ever made a move on me? Yes, obviously. Several times. As I told you, Emily is often confused to her stay in my apartment. She thought we were just a normal couple. Sometimes she would come with me to my bedroom quite naturally, arguing that she didn't want to sleep alone. Other times she would appear next to me half naked, like the night of the move. She would talk to me, but tell me that we both felt the same way about each other. But I always tried to make the situation clear. I used to tell her that she was in quite a quite delicate moment of her life, even mine. And I didn't want to complicate things more than necessary. After a while, things calmed down and we didn't talk about it again. According to what you told me, Thomas, there was a day when Emily rubbed your relationship with Kaden. Yes. What triggered that argument? Well, it was the day Emily confessed to me that she was pregnant. What? I'm sorry. Since when? Okay, this is starting to get even more confusing by the moment, but you know, whoops, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I'm just gonna leave this video here for now. So, thank you guys so much for watching, I guess. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.